Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of The Grandstand here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host, AR the Ohio Patriot. And for today's episode, we're going to talk about day number 3,788 of why I fucking hate the left so goddamn much, because they're a bunch of fucking cunts. That's the main reason why, basically. But no, we got a couple stories we're going to talk about how fucking retarded these people actually are, and why they should never have voting rights in this country ever again is what it is. Because they're just complete ass clowns, and a lot of them, specifically people like Megan Hunt of Nebraska and a bunch of Democrats in Colorado, should never, ever have any kind of fucking power, especially to hold elected office in this country ever again. So, basically, for those who don't know, a little backstory. In the past 3 or 4 days now, you had Nebraska and South Carolina, both of them was what it was. We're both trying to pass pro-life bills in their state houses, respectively, or in the General Assembly, respectively, is what it was. They failed by a couple votes each, is what it was. I believe Nebraska's failed by a single vote, which shame on you Republicans there that hold the majority for not allowing that to advance to Poland's desk. And the same thing with South Carolina. Shame on you all for not letting it get to McMaster's desk. Because they should both be law right now. And the thing is, South Carolina is definitely going to bring it back. I think Nebraska will too, probably at some point next year. But let's go back and talk about Megan Hunt for a minute there. So Megan Hunt, this is a bitch I've talked about before. She is a complete fucking cunt. She has been in the Nebraska General Assembly since, I believe, 2020. She's a bought and paid for shill is what she really is, honestly, dude. She loves to talk about her own gayness and stuff like that. She has now become a full-blown child abuser and potential child molester, for that matter, by transitioning her own fucking child. I'm not even sure what this kid was to begin with. If it was a boy that she turned into a girl, if it was a girl she turned into a boy, knows what it was. But either way, she has fucked this kid for life, is what it is, dude. She has put this kid in hormone blockers, etc., etc. And she should be in state prison right now in Nebraska for child abuse. End of story, is what it is. She was obviously the one celebrating the quote-unquote abortion rights in Nebraska here in the last day or so is what it is. And we're going to go and talk about that right now for a minute here with her dumbass in this clip right here. And then we're going to talk about the other person that responded back to this and how stupid they are is what it is. And then we'll talk about the Colorado stuff after the fact. So, first off, you got Hunt there saying, "Speechless, thank you. Abortion is legal in Nebraska." Look at all these people fucking clap. Like, look at those people, dude. A couple hundred people clapping to kill kids in the womb. Like, how demonic is that shit, dude? Seriously. And I've been saying this for a while now. We are 100% in the fight between good and evil right now, dude. This is what pure evil looks like. This is what people who do demon deals at a crossroads to get power look like. People like Megan Hunt. People who abuse and sterilize their fucking child for life to get fucking brownie points of the left. That's who these people are, dude. And I'm frankly fucking sick and tired of it. I am so fucking sick and tired of it, man. But what's even more ironic and stupid at the same time, honestly, is this Jill Smith woman who was responding back to Hunt here, who had the audacity, and I do say audacity because of how stupid these people are. She said to Megan, your children and their children will tell future generations about your courage and tenacity in protecting the rights of women in Nebraska. You rocked it, ladies. What the fuck kind of leftist logic is that, dude? You're not going to have kids, you fucking idiots, because you either A, have already sterilized them, or you've aborted them. In Megan's case, she sterilized her own child. In other women's cases, they're fucking aborting their kids, dude. So how the hell are you going to have their future generations tell the fucking stories when they don't exist? It's like the retarded fucking logic of the left at this point, dude. And these people have voting rights. That's the scariest part of all, right? Is they have the right to vote in this country. And sadly, they use it. They use it to vote in the worst pieces of shit possible. People like Megan Hunt, people like Allison Russo and Casey Weinstein here in Ohio. People like every one of those fucking Democrats in Pennsylvania who are now trying to take away the gun rights of gun owners in Pennsylvania there. People like all these fucking Democrats in Colorado, we're going to talk about here in a minute is what it is, dude. Across the board. people like Gretchen Whitmer, people like Janet Mills, governors in Michigan and Maine, respectively, who 100% did not get in there legally, is what it is. But yeah, it blows me away, dude. It just blows me away. And this is why I've been calling for like 5 to 6 years now of why we don't have disqualification number state power in this country, dude, for 20th Amendment of the Constitution. Because now is the time. Now is the time to actually do that. For us, the patriots of this country, to get together and to write a 20th Amendment of the Constitution, force it through, force it to be voted on in the House and the Senate and everything else like that, and force it to be adopted. And when you have a 20th Amendment to the Constitution that would be auto DQs, both from office and for running for office, you will be able to get rid of a lot of these shit candidates immediately, is what it is, dude. Because half of these fucking people, Democrats and Republicans for that matter, both, honestly, wouldn't even be able to qualify from the shit-ass platforms they're fucking running on, dude. Whether it be the all-corruption platforms and stuff like that, or whether it be, for Dems, it would be all the anti-gun, anti-life platforms and stuff like that. It'd be like, nope, sorry, you're disqualified on the spot. Get the fuck out of here. You're not the running, bitch. And be done with it like that. That's what we need to have in this country, honestly, dude. And I guarantee you, if our founding fathers still existed to this day, they would say the same exact shit, dude. If they saw what was happening here in 2023, they'd be like, yeah, these fucking people need to be tossed out. Hell, in their day, and then people wouldn't even be alive anymore, dude. That they would have already built the fucking gallows and shit for their asses a long time ago, is what it is. So, you know. Obviously, I'm speaking in the manner of, historical fact is what it is on that one. Because that's what they used to do back in the Founding Fathers' day. It's like, yeah, you fucked around, you found out is what it was, dude. They literally built a gallows and hung your ass out of it is what it was. So, or it was lifetime imprisonment or something like that. It was, that's another thing too, by the way. If you actually look back in those days with the founders of this country and stuff like that, and people that, were sort of deemed a threat to themselves and others, they were just put in prison forever is what it was, or they were killed. And the ones that weren't, when they got back, they would let them, do their time in their prison systems and stuff like that for, 5-10 years, whatever it was. And let them back out, and they restored their rights entirely. They restored their gun rights, they restored all the rights is what it was. So, and I think that's the problem right now with our country currently, is you have so many people who have done their time in prison, who aren't a threat to society. Maybe they did some, fucked up felony that wasn't even a, violent felony or anything like that. But yet they still have the rights restricted because of that stuff. And it's absolute bullshit, dude, to not be able to have your Second Amendment rights because you cashed a bad check or something, dude. But yet you did like 10 years in prison for that bad check cashing is what it is. Now, granted, on the flip side of that, when you have, these Soros paid DAs like your Jose Garzas and your Kim Foxes and shit like that, who are letting violent felons back on the streets with slaps on the wrist or almost no jail time at all is what it is. These people are legit threats to society, and they should not even be allowed back out on our streets is what it is, man. So, yeah, it's a whole thing there. But then to end off tonight's short stream is what it is here, because we're only going to have about another 5-10 minutes probably. I got some stuff I got to do here at midnight, and then I'm going to go to bed after that, so pretty tired. Not really feeling the greatest. My whole body's been aching all day is what it is. I don't know if it's the weather changing or what it is, but yeah, my joints are all real sore and stuff, so try to get some sleep here is what it is. But anyway, then we had this one from about 10 hours ago, which was breaking 27 Democrats in the Colorado House of Representatives, aka 27 state reps in Colorado, who are all Democrats, just voted against making indecent exposure, aka showing your dick and balls and everything else like that to minors, voted against making that a Class 6 felony in the state of Colorado. One Democrat said the bill, quote, targets drag shows and transgender community. Are you fucking kidding me, bitch? I assume that this is the video here of her saying this.
These types of laws have been used.
All right, hang on. Go back.
These types of laws have been used to ban drag shows.
What?
To target individuals who use the restroom.
No, they haven't been.
They identify with a public restroom.
Oh my God.
To charge them with felony charges.
How the fuck is this woman still in office after that? Serious question.
I'm very concerned about the attacks against the transgender community that are happening.
I'm very concerned that you're still a fucking sitting politician, bitch. Seriously, this is what I'm talking about. 20 minutes of the Constitution, auto DQs from office. This right here, prime example of that.
Across
This person need to be
When I
ran out in
initially read this
handcuffs.
bill, it did not even come to mind for me either, as an advocate. But as I've looked at the bills and as I've talked to my colleagues who are fighting these types of bills across the country, it's very clear to me that the language is very much
Oh my
mirrored
God.
in some of the laws that have been used to target members of our community because of who they are. These types of laws have been used
Oh, sorry, it just was
to
resetting.
ban.
Yeah, so basically, why is P for pedo not the first one on the LGBT thing anymore, dude? That's the real question. Because that's what the people are. They're pedophiles, legitimately. They're pedophiles, and they're enabling other pedophiles. And that's exactly what the problem is with our country right now, dude. You have, and really, honestly, it's like, it sort of does go back to what I've been saying for a while now when it comes to people who, I'm trying to put this now, like the McCarthyism thing back in the day, where you had McCarthy, you know, back in like the 50s or whatever it was there, who was talking about communism and everything like that. And he's like, you know, communism this, communism that, and stuff like that. And it turned out that the reason that he couldn't find communism or communists is because everybody was a fucking communist back then. Kind of reminds me of what's going on right now, honestly, dude, because it's like, you know, you start seeing this stuff all through the Democrat Party, and it's like, is that entire party just a bunch of child molesters at this point? And it kind of seems like they could be, honestly, at least the majority of them anyway. And if they're not, they're enabling the child molestation is what it is then. And that right there is a prime example of that. This woman talking about how, oh, this targets the LGBT and the trans community, and what the fuck? No, it doesn't. It's talking about not exposing your fucking genitalia to children, you fucking sick cunt. And the fact that you're okay with people exposing their fucking dick and balls and everything else like that to fucking kids at drag shows, which why the fuck kids at drag shows to begin with, number one, because you're talking about adult entertainment at that point, is absolutely ridiculous. That in and of itself should be a multi-time felony at that point. It should be multiple felonies across the board, actually, like 10 different felonies for child abuse and stuff like that. And number two, the fact that you're talking about them exposing themselves to these kids, not being indecent exposure as a felony now, tells me and tells everybody else that's seeing that exactly what you are, lady, which is a fucking child abuser, which is a fucking pedo enabler at the bare minimum, if not a pedophile yourself. And this is the entire problem with the Democrat Party. This is why I hate the Democrat Party and the left so much, dude. And this is exactly why these people are the scum of the fucking earth at this point, dude. And why I've said for some time on this channel, and why I will continue to say for the future of this channel, we are fighting good and evil right now. And as you can see in the previous stuff that I posted there was a little clip of like some chick in the bottom there. So there was a Satanist event called SatanCon, apparently. I did not know that was a thing at all, but apparently I guess it is. There was a thing called SatanCon that happened there in Boston, Massachusetts today. And it was their annual get-together. You had this bitch literally ripping apart a holy Bible while a bunch of other ass clowns yelled, "Hail Satan." And my thing of it is, it's like, okay, so you're obviously not 100% demonically possessed right now, because if you were, pretty sure you even touching that Bible would be burning your skin. So you being able to tear it apart, you're obviously just an idiot fucking servant of Satan is what it is. And that's the problem with people, dude. And again, it goes back to the people having voting rights is what it is, dude. Now, granted, who's to say they actually vote? Just because they have voting rights doesn't mean they actually vote, but, you know, you never know. They probably do actually in some cases. But this is the problem. You have this continued attack on Christianity. You know, we saw that with Nashville's attack. We saw that with the whole, you know, trans shooter and shit like that there. Of course, they haven't released a manifesto yet because of that. Now they're talking about very soon it's going to be released. Not call bullshit on that one. And when it is released, it's probably, I'm sure there's going to be like a big old black redaction on like 90% of it will be then. Because it would tell you the exact shit with that fucking Hale piece of crap, where they were targeting a Christian school to kill kids and kill Christians because they were a fucking servant of Satan is what it is, dude. And that's the problem with these people. And that's the problem with mental illness in this country is what it is. When you have these fucking psychos who are 100% legal with the Democrat Party at this point doing these massacres, and then you have the same fucking Democrat Party turning around and being like, oh, well, you know, we gotta use tragedy now and try to push more gun control on you, even though it hasn't worked every fucking time. The only reason we're trying to do it is because we know that our end game is to democide everybody is what it is. Yeah, we saw your bullshit, dude, a long time ago. We called it out 3 years ago. You know, it's what got me Actually, I'm sorry, almost 4 years ago. So it got me federally swatted back in 2019, honestly. For the most part, it was that and some other stuff, obviously, that was said about Yang, but that's beside the point. But yeah, if you're looking at a lot of stuff I said back in those days, it's 100% what I'm saying now, honestly, in a lot of cases. I'm just toning it down a little bit here and there. But yeah, it's all Satanism, dude. It's all fucking cultural Marxism. It's all just demonic shit is what it is. It's all just pure demonology in general. And it is just pure evil we're fighting. And people need to wake up and realize that. And if you're not on the side of history, on the light side of history, dude, then you're gonna fall to the dark side of history. And I feel sorry for you because when things go down, in that war between God and Jesus and the archangels and the other angels and everything else like that, and then the demons and Lucifer and shit happens, you're going to be caught on the wrong side. The rest of us will have our spirits opened to be possessed by the angels and the archangels, supernatural style. The rest of y'all be getting fucking demon possessed by the black smoke and shit. And I believe that truthfully. I think that's going to happen at some point in the future. I don't know how long it's going to happen from now. It could be 5 years, 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road. But yeah, I believe 100%. You look at that series Supernatural, dude, like Hollywood did a lot of things with that show, but truthfully, when it got to the archangels and the angels and stuff like that, and like I think it was season 4 or 5, something like that, and then they eventually got into the other stuff because obviously the first couple seasons was about demons and shit, and hell and Satan and everything else like that. You can't sit here and tell me that there isn't a real possibility of all that stuff happening, especially the Crossroads demon deals and stuff, dude. Because you look at how many of these people have gotten the power now, these leftists and shit, and that's the only thing that explains it at that point. There is no way that they legitimately won these races. There is no way that they legitimately funded themselves in these races or even got outside funding for these races and stuff like that without cutting deals of some kind, whether that be a demon deal at a fucking Crossroads, whether that be, some backdoor deal in some hotel room, whatever the case be. That's sort of a similar deal anyway, like that. But either way, it's demonic shit and it needs to be dealt with. The evil in this world believes that they have a foothold, and they definitely are trying their best to kill the good. And that's why it's time to bring back more good. That's why it's time to get enlightened, get to that higher power, and return to God, is what it really is. Honestly, the worst thing we did in this country was allow God to be taken out of schools, period. The whole separation of church and state bullshit was the biggest slap in the face ever, dude. There's a reason why our founders were so heavily into Christianity, because they knew what the fucking deal was. There's a reason why the First Amendment includes freedom of religion and expression and stuff like that. It's because they understood that you need to have that stuff and have it be at the forefront. Because if you don't, all you're going to do is create a godless nation, which is what we're seeing right now, honestly. And it's not even just a godless nation, it's a godless world in most cases. There's a reason why you have so many people attacking Christianity, attacking Judaism, etc. And it's because they are so fucking blinded that they don't see what's right in front of them. That instead of embracing a higher power, a faith, any kind of thing, actually having a base in something, they fall for anything else. And when you're not based in something, whether it be a Christian, I'm not even going to say Christian background, I'm just going to say a religious background for that matter. When you have no religious faith, when you have no religious backing, when you have no religious base to fall back to, you're immediately going to open yourselves up to anything else out there, whether that be Satanism, whether that be trans ideology and occult mentality like that, or something else for that matter. And that's the biggest problem right now. And I feel like that even on the right, that matter, dude. Like, as bad as the left is, I'm starting to see some of that shit on the right too, honestly. Where you have these people that'll look at, Donald Trump as basically Jesus Christ 2.0 at this point, and it's wrong. Honestly, it's false. It's literally false ideology. It's false prophets, dude. And it pisses me off because of that. And I'm like, dude, this is fucking ridiculous. Like, no, this guy is not the second coming. He's a fucking man. He's a dude. He is some dude who was president. He probably should still be president, honestly. But, he fucking did some stupid ass shit and got himself out of office, is what it is. And that's the biggest thing right now. And it's like, no, your fucking base, your actual foundation that you're standing upon should not be following some fucking politician at the end of the day. It should be a base of something else, of something thousands of years older than you. If nothing else, follow the Constitution for God's sakes. If you don't want to have your base, have your foundation in some religion, that's fine. Become a constitutionalist. Do what needs to be done. Protect it at all costs. Couple 100-year-old documents fine enough, honestly, dude. Because that's the thing. Our founding fathers, some of the best men ever born, were the ones that created that document. And they had a face, or they had their faith-based, religious sorry, thoughts process. I was trying to figure out what I'm trying to say there, and then it kind of went out of the way. But no, they had their faith and their base and everything else like that in religion when they wrote those documents, and that's the big thing right now. That's why they talked about life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and stuff like that, or life, liberty, property, and depending on which version you look at is what it is. And there's a reason for that, and it's because they understood that life, you have to have a life before anything else, dude. And you look back at those days, and it's like, yeah, they were hardcore about human life and stuff like that. Like, if they saw what was happening now with abortion and stuff like that, dude, they would be spinning so fucking hard. They would be like, why have you people let it get to this? I mean, hell, even our taxation and stuff like that, dude, they fought the shit over a couple % fucking tax on tea and stuff. And it's like, bro, we have like a 35-40% tax now. By the way, you can actually look at for representation in this country, and you can't honestly tell me that we have representation anymore and aren't just being taxed. There is no representation with the whole taxation thing. The whole taxation representation thing, that's where that all came from. We should not be getting taxed right now because we don't have representation anymore, federally speaking. And in a lot of cases, depending on the state and depending on the district in your state and stuff like that, you don't have representation there either, is what it is. So it's like, why should you even be forced to pay taxes then right now? But yeah, I definitely think something's about to happen in this country. Just looking at these leftists and stuff just proves that to me. Just their sick, gleefully fucking joyful victories about, being able to kill kids in the womb and steal gun rights and everything else like that. It's just like, when is enough, honestly? And I feel like they're just going to wake a sleeping bear very soon is what it is. I don't know what that looks like, honestly. I'm just looking, far off in the horizon and seeing like this big giant bear on a fucking hilltop, basically just chilling is what it is. And it's starting to stir is what it is. And it's like, yeah, when it does, dude, oh, buddy, that bear roll down that hill is not going to be good for these people, man. I'll tell you that much. So, I don't know. I think we're definitely in for bad times ahead, though. And maybe that's a good thing, because it's going to be, we're already in the point in that, fourth turning and stuff like that, where you have the whole, weak men create hard times thing. And we're starting to get in the hard times right now. And it's only a matter of time before the hard times will create strong men again. And then, of course, you'll have strong men create good times, and you'll have good times create weak men, and then you'll have weak men create hard times again, and it'll be a continuous cycle is what it is. But, of course, it's not going to be for another, probably good 50-something years down the road or more after this is all said and done. And the entire point of the matter is, by that point, most of us that are in our, 30s, 40s, 50s, depending, age-wise, we'll all be dead by then. Hopefully, anyway. I don't plan on living to be 100 and, 10, 12, 13 years old, whatever it is. So, actually, technically, if it was 80 years from now, I'd be 118 then. So, that'd be interesting, though. That'd be interesting. Although, if I'm a really old dude in a fucking wheelchair or something like that, and I can't see and I'm all blind and I'm like mostly deaf and shit, like, nah, that's not living to me, dude. Living to me is basically being able to, get up and go for a walk and chill out and talk with people and stuff like that, not be wheelchair bound and have somebody, take care of your every need, and you're basically shitting in a bag and stuff like that, and pissing in a catheter and stuff like that is what it is. So, yeah, not down for that kind of stuff, dude. But, I mean, technically speaking, if we had, technology come far enough along where we'd be able to, like, essentially have something help happen where, I'm not saying, like, the whole transhumanism thing where you'd be basically in a robot body or anything like that, but, like, yeah, if you could basically have, like, I don't know, maybe like some kind of crazy cloning thing. Well, that can be. Yeah. I was gonna say crazy cloning thing, but then I'm like thinking about that more, and I'm just like, no, because then it wouldn't be you. You'd be basically having your memories in the body of a clone. That is what it would be. So, yeah, I'm not down for that either. Is what it is then. So I don't know, man. Maybe Fountain of Youth or something potentially, hopefully, but who knows? Who knows? Only time will tell is what it is. But either way, when God wants us, he'll take us, and unfortunately, so many are going to Satan now, is what it is. And that's bad. It's bad times ahead, man. And I think when time's said and done and everything, goes down, I think you're definitely going to see people realize that they made mistakes. Maybe they'll repent. Maybe they won't. The ones that won't, obviously, aren't going to make it. And the ones that will, maybe they will make it, is what it is. So, but yeah, I definitely see us going into a very, very bad deal in the next, I would say, 6 months to a year, give or take, depending on, how inflation keeps kicking up and everything else like that. I think we're definitely heading towards a Great Depression again, or some kind of a similar event. Maybe not quite as bad as Great Depression was, but definitely, like, let's say housing market crash 2.0 kind of thing is what it was. And then, of course, you'd have, people that would be. There's a book that came out years ago called Soft Apocalypse. If you haven't read that, you should. It basically explains what we're going through right now, honestly, and very much so. I think that's what we're seeing in a lot of cases, where you have some people already who are having skill sets that aren't really that good or whatever, and so they can't find work, or the work that they can find, it's like a barista or something like that, or like a fast food worker or whatever the case be. And those are the same people that are bitching and moaning about, like, well, I can't pay my student loan debts for this gender studies course I took and majored in and stuff like that. It's like, well, maybe we shouldn't have taken that fucking major then. So anyway, but yeah, I definitely think I think we're heading for definitely a split in this country, and I don't like where it's heading, is what it is, because I feel like we're definitely going to balkanize as a nation, and it could easily not have to happen if we simply were to put the right things in place and deal with the corruption in our system, is what it is, with auto DQs from office and running for office, with just removing these criminals from the offices that they've taken at this point illegally. So anyway, until that happens, though, I think we're definitely on a collision course for bad times ahead. And whether that be a balkanization event, a civil war, a Great Depression, a Second American Revolution, who the hell knows? Could be all of them, could be just one of them, could be, all that stuff. And then maybe a couple other black swan events on top of all that we don't even see coming out of nowhere. I mean, hell, there was the Pentagon, I believe was what it was, about a month, 2 months ago, something like that, mentioned something about how they spotted a alien mothership in our atmosphere, and then the story disappeared out of nowhere and hasn't been heard about ever again after that. So it's like, okay, whatever happened to that mothership, dude? Did it come down to Earth? Did it possess a bunch of politicians? Was it a bunch of aliens taking over politicians now in their meat suits and shit like that? Men in Black style? Like, who knows, man? But yeah, I think only time will tell of how crazy shit's about to get. And I think when it does kick off, there's definitely going to be some crazy X factors going on in there that we don't even see coming. And that's one thing that I keep trying to like think about more and more. And I'm just like, I don't know if I can even think about these things now, because it's like, what would be the worst case scenario? And then when you think about that, and you're just like, well, is that the worst case scenario, or is there something even more crazy than that? Is what would be that potentially could go off. So yeah, I don't know, but I definitely think that we're heading towards some kind of a breaking point right now, and it's only a matter of time before it actually breaks and that pendulum swings back. And who's to say what that's going to look like right now? I could go into detail if I really wanted to, but I think I've already kind of said that many, many times on this channel. And It would just be wasting time reiterating the same thing over and over again, which is basically, maybe there will be a dictatorship when it's all said and done. Maybe there will be fascism uprising and stuff when it's all said and done. Who the fuck knows? Because that's the thing, the left is pushed so far to one side now. When, that pendulum would swing back to the right and stuff like that. Like, who's to say there wouldn't be some kind of crazy shit like that? And it would all be essentially by design, because it would be these idiots fucking creating the shit is what it is. It'd be like them bitching and moaning and trying to do stuff, whatever the case be, where it would be such an authoritarianism that would have to come back the opposite way. It would be an overcorrection then. And that's what I don't want to see, I don't want to see that, dude. As a constitutionalist, I do not want to see that kind of thing. And that's the problem right now. I believe that that's where we're heading, And if it is where we're heading, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good for those people, dude. And it might not be good for the rest of us either, for that matter. I was watching something last night, actually. I don't know if I talked about it yesterday or not, but there was some chick who was talking about some fucking chip in her arm and stuff like that, and using it to like go do all kinds of daily transactions and stuff like that. And I'll tell you what it reminded me of. It reminded me of two things, actually. It reminded me of that scene from Demolition Man where the guy's scratching his hand and there's like a little chip in his hand is what it is. And it also reminded me of the one scene from Back to the Future Part 2 where Marty's looking at the paper and it talks about thumb bandits, because obviously he used biometrics in that movie as well. And in that particular film, there was people walking around, because you use your thumb to get in your house and everything else like that. They were just chopping people's fucking thumbs off, dude. And then obviously the Demolition Man movie, they used eye scanners and stuff like that for biometrics. And, obviously that Simon Phoenix dude was cutting people's fucking eyes out and putting them up to fucking scanners and shit, dude. So yeah, if people don't think that somebody's going to walk around with a fucking machete and chop your goddamn arm off to steal your fucking chip in it, you're kidding yourself right now, dude. Because that's going to happen 100%. So yeah, definitely not for that kind of stuff. Not to mention the fact that on top of all that, you would allow government tracking of your body wherever you go. Fuck that shit, dude. Fuck all that shit. Not to mention the fact that if they wanted to, they could just cut your chip off whenever they felt like it. Yeah, no bueno, bro. Nothing good comes of allowing government to have any control over your, self, of your finances, anything else like that, dude. So, and fuck their Fed coin they're trying to create now as well, dude. So, CBDCs, aka central bank digital currencies, are the worst thing ever created, and they all need to be wiped the fuck out in one stroke, is what it is. They need to be pushed back against so heavily that nobody ever accepts them, is what it is. And if people try to accept it when it starts coming out here in the next couple months to a year or so, do not do that, man. Because if you do, all you're doing is accepting essentially the mark of the beast at the end of the day. So anyway, but yeah, that's where we're at for the day, though. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. To reiterate, Megan Hunt is a mega cunt. Legitimately, she is a fucking piece of shit. So is all those Democrats in Colorado that are trying to allow a bunch of pedophiles to expose themselves to children without being a felon. And the left can go fuck itself. And they can all fuck themselves. And they will definitely be on the wrong side of history when things go down. And it's as simple as that. Hope you guys enjoy this episode. I'll see you in the next one.